Is open, so let's see. Share. Oh, I'm saying stop sharing. So let's do one more time. Share. Yeah, there you go. Glad that we're having this session after Diwali. We're continuing with Ajamila's story. Ajamila. Ajamila is as we saw in the last week, he was he was actually regretting. Last week, Ajamila was so sad, although he was spared by the Yama Kinkaras. He's still very sad because that is the effect. So, whenever we have, whenever we want to go through an experience, sometimes we have to go through the whole cycle. Sometimes people lose somebody and then they want to come out of it very quickly. It takes time. So Ajamila was also experiencing paschyatap. Paschyatap means regretting, repenting, reconciliating with himself, his own heart, his own consensus about his own conscience about how he could have how he could have been better, and who all has been affected, including his own parents, and how he had been abusing his free will towards taking up to bad or illicit activities and all that, so forth and so forth, so on. But then here's the time in this session we'll see how he slowly recollecting his very recent experience of meeting all the Yama Kinkaras, but more than that, meeting the Parshadas, meeting the retinue or the servants of Mahavishnu, Bhagavan himself, Narayana himself, right? So that is coming up from the 29th, 30th sloka onwards of this 6th canto, 2nd chapter. So we are in the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter, and we'll go from sloka number 30, which is right in front of me here. Tatkramyatam sa Bhagavan Purushah Puranah Narayana Swa Purushair Yadasat Kritam Nah Swanamaho न विदुषां रचिताञ्जलीनां क्षान्तिर्गरीयसि नमः पुरुषाय भूम्नेः. So, tat kshamyatam sa Bhagavan Purushah Puranah Narayana Swa Purushaihi Yada Satkritam Nah. All his past activities, which is full of a lot of papa, have been cleansed. Swanamaho navidusham rachiratanjalinam shantihi gariyasi nama purushaya bhumne tatsmat. So it is all, let me see what it's given here. नारायण हम लोगों को ये अपराध क्षमा करें, हम अज्ञानी होने पर भी है उनकी निज जन और उनकी आज्ञा पाने के लिए अंजलि सदा अतः परम महिमन्वित भगवान के लिए. I think I'm in a different chapter. Let me check just a second. Just okay. Yeah, I'm in a different chapter. Second, I went to the 3rd chapter. So here in 2nd chapter, the 29th sloka the 30th sloka will read like this. क्वयात अद्यते ये मां व्यकर्षणं पाश पाणयः अतते क्व गता सिद्धा चत्वारश्चारुदर्शनः किमिदं स्वप्न आहोस्मित् साक्षात् दृष्टमिहाद्भुतं क्वयात अद्यते ये मां व्यकर्षन् पाशपाणयः. He is wondering the experience which he had very recently with the Parshadas of Bhagavan, Sri Vishnu, Kimidam Swapna, is it dream or true? Ahos with the Sakshat, is it real? Drishtam iha adbhutam, it is an adbhuta, it is out of the world experience. Is it real? Was it real? Kvayata adyate yemam vyakarshan pashapanayah. Who was the one who came and released me from the Yamakinkaras? Atate kvagata siddha chatvaras charu darshanaha. Is recollecting those beautiful, handsome followers of Bhagavan, Sri Vishnu, who were there. Charu darshanaha, they were splendid. Siddhaha, they looked like they've accomplished everything. They're bringing so much of peace to you. Chatvaraha, there were four of them. Vimochayan yamanam badhva pashairadho bhuvah. Ajamila is saying, I was tied up by the Yama's servants, Yamakinkaras, and I was about to be taken away. Lo behold, like a big magic, I am released from that big burden of having to experience Naraka. Atha pime durbhagasya vibudottama darshane bhavitavyam mangalena yenatma me prasidati athapi. Although, in spite of me, himself, durbhagasya. Bhaga means adrishta. Adrishta means something unseen. So he has collected a lot of papa, unseen papa, for several janmas. Vibudhottama darshane. But then by the darshana, by sighting, by just a glance of these Vishnu Bhagavan's Parshadas, I am not even eligible for that. Who's saying this? Ajamila is saying. He's not even eligible for that. But bhavitavya mangalena, maybe I have done some punya. Ajamila is thinking, he's saying that he might have done some punya. Who knows? He won't know. Bhagavan knows. He is the karmaphala data. And maybe because of that, yenatma me prasidati. Because of that, this presence of the Parshadas and bringing so much of peace to my heart. That is the only way I can explain this great experience, he's saying. Anyatamriya varnasya nashucher vrishalipate Vaikunta nama grahanam jihva vaktumiharhati. Anyatha, otherwise, mriyamanasya, he was about to die. He was about to die, which means, he was so helpless. Physically, even speaking would be difficult. When someone is in that last stage, even speaking, he would want to say something or she would want to say something, even that won't come out. That was his condition. And he was not having any purity, right? Throughout his life, throughout his known life. Vrishali Patehe, and has been given to all bad conducts. But because of, for some reason, he took the name of Vaikunta Bhagavan, Narayan, 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 that came to his tongue. He's saying, how was I even qualified to say that name at that point in time in my life? And nobody would be able to do anything. That is all because of some blessings, he's saying. Kvachaham kitavah papah brahmagno nirapatrapah kvachanarayane tyetad bhagavan nama mangalam. Where is Ajamila is saying, where is his past? Full given to a lot of papa, a lot of sins. Kitavah, kitavah, he was given to a lot of bad karmas. And because of that accumulated a lot of papas. And he was expected to be leading a life of Brahmana. But he was totally opposite to that lifestyle. He was very shameless in his conduct. He is now regretting. People are sometimes shameless in their conduct and they take pride in that also. I've seen people, okay, breaking some rules and taking pride about it. But now here is the moment of reckoning for him. He's feeling, he's feeling ashamed of his conduct. He says, where is that kind of a person? And where is the Nama of Narayana? So according to him, if he was such a person like that, Bhagavan's grace should have been, in the form of Nama, should have been far away from him. But that was not the case because of the Lord who is all merciful. Soham tata yatishyami yata chittendriya nilah yatha nabhuya atmanam andhe tamasi majjaye. So now he's saying, I have been given this chance, one more chance. Yatishyami, he says he will try his best. Yata chittendriya nilah, he will try his best to be having his chitta, mind, indriya, senses available for something higher. He will go into the practice of yoga for that. Yatana bhuyaha, so that way bhuyaha again, atmanam, again he feels that he should not go back to andhe tamasi, should not go back to that ways of darkness. Only in our religion, we compare darkness with ignorance. We're also used to this comparison. Darkness to ignorance and brightness, light to knowledge. We take it for granted, this understanding. But this is a very novel thinking. Only in our religion we say darkness is ignorance. That's why we celebrate Diwali, festival of lights and all that. So he says he doesn't want to go back to that ways of darkness. Vimuchyatami bandham. So he's taking some responsibility. So he's not saying that I don't know how this experience happened. I don't deserve it. He's not saying that, stopping by saying that he doesn't deserve and not doing anything about anything further. This is what people sometimes miss the point. He's taking responsibility. He feels he's free enough. That sense of freedom in his mind is a blessing. The sense of freedom you have in your mind is a blessing. Don't take it for granted. Okay, I'm free. Now what can I do better? So that is how he's thinking. So thanking God for that kind of a freedom within. Not even self-knowledge. It is just a freedom of, to think properly, to not be being carried away with extreme sense of push of, what is dislike and what is like. So that kind of, he's appreciating that for the first time. Every human being has that. But when do you start appreciating? That's what matters. Vimuchyatami bandham avidya kama karmajam sarvabhuta sukritchantah maitrah karuna atmavan. So he's going to be saying, he's saying to himself that he wants to be released from this cycle. Don't say, when you say cycle, don't think of the cycle of birth and death. You shall be more informed. You've been, attending satsangs for such a long time. Just don't parroting that life cycle of life and death and all that. That is all some oversimplification by Western philosophers. And since we are speaking in English, since our classes are in English, people borrow those terms and they just circulate the same words, life and death and all that. No. Real cycle is this. which is there in this shloka and which has been told by all experts in Vedanta. Avidya kama karmajam. This is a cycle. The cycle of avidya, you being self-ignorant, you being ignorant about anything in your own field. And what would that lead to? It's a very logical cycle. When you're ignorant and when you want to do something, that is called avidya-based karma. So you're ignorant, avidya, but then you have a lot of desires. You have desires, but you have no knowledge. You imagine what will happen to your actions. Your actions will be only leading you to more feeling bound, feeling stifled, feeling stuck. So this is a cycle. And once you feel more stuck, more bound, more stifled, what's going to be your reaction? It's going to be a reaction. Your reaction is to only keep fixing that without seeking knowledge. So now it is a time for him to be more stress-free. Ajamila is now stress-free. And he is now thinking of this. The cycle is very clear to him. So when somebody asks cycle of what does Hindu religion do to you, it will release you from this cycle of avidya kama karma. Don't say from the cycle of birth and death and all that. Sarva bhuta suhrit. Now he is so free, he says, I want to be a suhrit, a well-wisher, a benevolent person to everybody. Doesn't matter if somebody is known to me. Even if somebody is unknown, I would like to be nice to him. Maitraha, I would like to value my people, my friendship, my people who I am associated, my significant ones, who are making my life every day. Karunaha, I'm reading all the words from the shloka. I'm making progress here in the shloka also. Karunaha, I want to be kind to people who cannot step up. So in families sometimes, when you have some conflicts, you may think the other person is not listening. But the other person may be weak to acknowledge and accept and make the effort. So that is all. There also some compassion has to come into play. Karunaha. Karunaha is not only towards some cats and dogs, even for people who are your significant ones. So he says Karunaha. He wants to get into this kind of a lifestyle. Mocha yegrastam atmanam yoshin mayyatma mayaya vikridato yat yayaivaham krida mriga dhamah. Sometimes the past comes and catches you. It holds you for ransom. It is holding. Sometimes the past comes back. He says, no. The past is all also Ishvara's anugraha only, in the form of Ishvara's Maya, Shakti, where otherwise how can you explain? You yourself, when you think of your past, how you are now versus how you were in your past, you would say, thank God, how ignorant I was, how mercurial I was, like that you would think. And you'll think that, you're glad you have been spared by the people. And you cannot explain why you were like that. All that you can say is with folded hands, counting your grace and say, Bhagavan, you somehow managed, you put up with me in the past. Otherwise, what can explain for such kind of a behavior in the case of Ajamila? Krida mriga ivadamaha. He was just, what I should say, helplessly behaving like an animal which has been programmed to do all sorts of nonsense. That's what he's saying here. Mama hamidi dehado hitva mityartha dhimatim. Now he's taking some accountability. Tasye mano bhagavati shuddham tat kirtanadivihi. So he positively wants to stay he negatively wants to stay away from this locus of, me and myself. He is free enough to say that it's no more about just me and myself. Or he is free enough to say, even if I'm pushed to think that, it is about me and myself, I will not express in the form of those actions and desires. So those are the bad things. Desires are not bad. Desires centered on me and my, based on total ignorance of yourself, is the problem. Okay, dehadav. So that's locus, that I am aham. Atma is body. Body is everything. And all my things are everything. That kind of a panic mode, that is going to affect. Then you're going to hold on to something which is not so stable. Like people trying to hold on to money. Very difficult. When I say hold on to money, I'm not talking about you keeping your money in some bank or locker. That is good. But holding on to money is to holding on to the value of money. It is depreciating. You don't know what to do with that. Even banks don't know. Banks are also holding on to a lot of money, right? And they think they can give some loans. But you have to find out people who are deserving to give some loans. They think they can buy some dollars. Banks are all over the world. They buy some dollars. Or sometimes these days they're buying some assets like gold, because gold is skyrocketing. So even they don't know what to hold on to. So that will be also your situation. That is your situation at this point, when you're holding on to something which is not stable, such as my things and my body and my life and all that. So now positively, what can you hold on to? Bhagavati, in Ishvara, in this kind of an understanding, and appreciation, recognition, and enhancing and enriching yourself with this knowledge of Bhagavan. Hold on to that. That kirtanadibihi, by understanding and appreciating the glories of Bhagavan. Now Shuka is saying, wow, now that, with such a change of heart from Ajamila, Shuka is taking a look, after narrating that, he's saying, Iti jatasu nirvedaha kshanasangena sadhushu ganga dvara mupeyaya mukta sarvanubandhanaha. So very clearly it is saying, kshanasangena sadhushu satsangaha sadhu sangaha. So Shuka is highlighting the real reason for the change. It is not just the name of Bhagavan Narayana that he was able to take at that point in time. That is what is released. That is his blessing. He himself is saying. Ajamila is saying that he doesn't even know how it occurred for him to name his son as Narayana, and how it occurred to call him at that last minute. Although he didn't really call Narayana, he only called his son Narayana Bhagavan out of his compassion, because there was a discussion in Vaikunta. What was the discussion? Ajamila is calling, he might have used the word Narayana, but the usage was meant for his son. So, if you are a reasonable person, if you are a thinking person, you should not be, thinking that he said Narayana and it is me. Yeah, nobody would think like that, right? Suppose if your name is Lakshmi, and suppose if you have a servant maid in your house, her name is also Lakshmi. Okay. When somebody calls, hey Lakshmi, please clean this place, you would know from the tone and everything that it is not you. If your name is Lakshmi, it is for your servant maid. Suppose if you get so excited and say, oh no, I'm sorry and all that, everybody will think there's something wrong with you, that you cannot even know this difference, that it is not you. It is so, you are expected to have that kind of an understanding. But in this case, Narayana was called, and Bhagavan Narayana became excited. Okay? He got excited. And he said, no, I have to go. His Parshadas didn't even listen to Narayana. They went because that is their duty. Whenever they hear the word Narayana, Bhagavan has appointed people to go right away to that spot and then decide what was the reason why he said Narayana. So they went. But why would Bhagavan also get moved? Bhagavan's reasoning is, he may not know, Ajamila may not know that Narayana is Bhagavan. Okay, that name belongs to Bhagavan. That is where the first time the word Narayana has been used. But Bhagavan knows that the name belongs to him. Hence, Bhagavan has to do something. So these are all some of the nice reasonings. People don't discuss unless they have time, like you're spending time with me. So here, that is what I was saying, sadhu sangha. So Shukadeva is saying, Ajamila's change came after the satsanga. The name released him, but the sangha of sadhu made him think what he was missing, what he was going against, what he could have done better. That all comes through sadhu sangha only. Like your own understanding how it is getting better with this sangha, satsanga here. So that is possible only to satsanga. So that is what is saying. Ganga Dwara Pureyaya. Ajamil left to Haridwar. Ganga Dwar is Haridwar. Ganga is starting somewhere in the Himalayas. But Haridwar's Ganga is supposed to be one of the most sacred. So he went there. Satasmindeva sadana asino yogamashritah pratyahritendriyagramaha yuyojamana atmani satasmindeva sadana. When you go to Haridwar, you can also look for a very peaceful temple. People go to Haridwar to watch the Ganga Arati. You don't get a spot. You have to go there 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, especially in the weekends. Otherwise, the whole place is full on the other side of the bank where they watch the Arati. But here you went to the temples there. He chose one temple which is very peaceful. Asina, he sat there, Yoga Master. He said, I'm going to take up to a lifestyle of yoga. Pratyahritendriya, he says, my senses, he decides to withdraw from the sense objects positively, consciously. Even when you sleep, your senses are withdrawn. But here there's a positive effort even when you're active. Especially your sense organ, your indriya of tongue, lashing, speech and all that is withdrawing. And then giving to all sorts of, eating is withdrawing. Just throwing away his eyes and ears and dissipating their energy. No, he's withdrawing. Indriya grama. Yuyoja mana atmani is bringing his senses to more focus on inside, which is his mind. He's more alert about what's happening in his mind. And then he is also, because of his satsanga, he is also enriching his buddhi with knowledge. So he is focusing on his mind, and in that mind, he is focusing on that buddhi. He's bringing it to his buddhi. That is what, this is a sequence. Senses, making them look more aware of the mind. And then the mind also, in the mind you are more aware of that portion of the mind, which is called buddhi, which is more focused on the truth and the understanding and the knowledge. Then you are busy, meaningfully. Tato gunebhya atmanam virjatma samadhina yuje bhagavadhamni brahmanyanubhavatmani tatah. Thereafter, gunebhya atmanam viyujya. And then also the mind is also a kind of a marketplace. Now the marketplace, they say, for this insurance marketplace. You go and there's a marketplace because a lot of things are available. You have to choose what is appropriate for you. You cannot choose the wrong insurance, right? So likewise, the mind is a marketplace of thoughts. So he is discerning what is right and what is useful. In your case, it's no more about what is right and what is wrong because you're clear about what is right. But now it's about what is more useful, what is more meaningful, what is more appropriate. So that is all the real thinking now. That is more sophisticated thinking. He's getting into that. Atma Samadhina, then he's thinking Samadhi. Samadhi is what? Samyak Adhiyate iti Samadhi. So total understanding and staying with that understanding is Samadhi. Total understanding because of the Shastra, having understood through teachers, and then staying with that knowledge is Samadhi. Look, this is what makes it more practical. Jijuve Bhagavad Dhamni, then Dhamna, the Bhagavan's Vaikunta Dhama, that limitless happiness, Brahmani, Anubhavatmani, in the form of Anubhava, you're experiencing that here and now. Your understanding, your recognition is as good as experiencing. Yaryuparatadhis tasmin adrakshit purushan purah upalabhyopalabdhandra prag bhavande shirasa dvijah yerhi uparata. Mind is now settled. That is when people say, are you settled? They are asking about if your mind is now settled. Now it is settled in that Bhagavan Narayana to the point, upalabhyopalabdhan prag bhavande shirasa dvijah. His mind is mentally in total, regards, respectful to the truth. Sadhya Swarupam. Now even the Yama Kinkaras, Yama won't even look at your side. Can you believe that? You can make Yama not even raise his eyes. The Yama who can scare everybody with his horrifying look, he won't even look at your side when you're having such kind of a lifestyle. Hitva kalevaram tirte gangayam darshanadanu sadhya swarupam jagruhe bhagavat parshvadhavartiman. End of his life, one more time, he was not this time holding on. He was ready. He gave up very effortlessly. Tirthe, in the Ganga's banks, he with the experience, with the darshana of the vision of the Lord. Right away, Sadhya Swarupam Jagrihe Bhagavat Pasha Vartiman. He was taken, the Bhagavat Pasha, the four Parshadas, they again were appearing to take him. Sakam vihaya sa vipraha mahapurusha kinkaraihi haimam vimanam aruhya yayau yatra shriyah patihi. Sakam, along with the Parshadas, imagine yourself going in the first class, not just by yourself, not just your family, but the whole first class is with people who are ready to serve you and all that. So that is how he was taken in a Vimana, in a real Vimana. See, Vimana word is very interesting word. Vimana means aeroplane, flight. Mana is yourself. Vimana, vigataha manaha. When you are free from this exaggerated sense of ego, when you are lightened of your ego, then you board the flight. You become light enough to travel light into the flight with not even a carry bag or check-in. So Vimana is making yourself, your ego light enough. Vigataha manaha. Mana is ego here. Then you take up to the flight towards not just another country, another place to Shriyaf Patihi, Yatra Shriyaf Patihi, where the Pati of Sri, Bhagavan Narayana, Lakshmi Narayana, where they reside, that is where you are taken. So you're all guaranteed that. Because that will also come in the end of this chapter. We have only a few more shlokas. You listen to even the phala of listening to this story of Ajamila towards the end. Let us do the few shlokas before that. एवं सविप्लावित सर्वधर्माः धास्याः पतिः पततो बदितो गर्ह्य कर्मणा विपात्यमानो विरये हतव्रतः सद्यो विमुक्तो भगवन्नाम गृह्णन्. So one more time, Shukadeva is summarizing what kind of a lifestyle was Ajamila's? Viplavita sarva dharma. He was all that is dharma, he never followed. All that is adharma, he followed. Because of his mind with so much of adharma, he did all sorts of bad karma. Dasyaha, to the point that he was a married man, but he gave up his family for the sake of this. Dasi, he became her husband, associating with Dasi and leading a life with her. Patihi. And there also he did all sorts of things. Patitaha, he was totally a fallen person. Morally, ethically, religiously, he was a fallen soul. Garhya karmana. Vipatyamanaha nireha. So, hatavrataha. All his vratas and whatever the brahmanatvam, everything totally gone. He was not qualified for anything better. Sadhyaha vimuktaha. But sadhyaha means right away. Not waiting. Bhagavan is not waiting to take him to Vaikunta. Bhagavan did not wait to release him from Yama's kinkaras. Right away, Bhagavan Nama, because he took to the name of Bhagavan. Nata param karma nibandha krindan mumukshatam tirtha padanu kirtanat nayat punah karmasu sajjate manah rajastamobhyam khalilam tatonyatha. One more time, Shukadeva is comparing taking Bhagavan's name versus doing all sorts of good karma. All sorts of good karma can make you feel excited, elated, to the point you think you're in control, to the point you can do anything because now you have earned a lot of punya and all that. So your mind with more rajas and with even a little amount of rajas, even with a little amount of tamas, because of this sense of, feeling accomplished, you would lose all that you gained in no time. So the vratas, everything, all those disciplines, all those have this side effect, the pitfall. Whereas Bhagavan Nama, no, it doesn't have that pitfall because when you take Bhagavan's Nama, Bhagavan takes over. Like you saw Bhagavan taking over Ajamila. And he brings the light, right kind of people around you, where you cannot but only make progress in your spiritual life. So that'll be a beautiful one-way, scenic route. Yayevam paramam guhyam itihasa itihasam aghapaham shunuyat shraddhaya yuktah yacha bhaktyanu Yayevam, whosoever, paramam guhyam, this kind, whosoever listens, Shuniyat, Shraddhaya, listens with some amount of attention, like you're all giving. So you're all focusing here. That is Shraddha. Yacha, Bhaktya, with some devotion, with some kind of a, devotion with kind of being devoted to Bhagavan. You're all devotees of Bhagavan. Whosoever can listen to this, which is called a secret. This story is called a secret because not everybody in the world. Now, this story is a history. Ajamila's life is a history, but you don't study Ajamila's life when you study Indian history. Okay, so you have to come to satsanga. So that way it is secret. It is secret not because it is not to be told. It is secret because it remains a secret in spite of being told, because people have to seek this knowledge. People have to come and listen like you're doing. That way it is a secret. Navai sanarakam yati. These people will listen to Ajamila's story. If you want, we can go back and do the story one more time. I'm just kidding. But if you have listened to this story, no naraka for you. No going to naraka. Nekshito yamakinkaraihi. Yamakinkaras. Everyone is scared of yamakinkaras. When they look at the eyes of yamakinkaras, they start shivering. But here is you who has listened to Ajamila's story. Yamakinkaras will not even look at your direction. They will roll their eyes away from you and then walk away. Yet, because they have also learned the lesson. Even those Yamakinkaras who didn't know that Bhagavan's name is so powerful, now the news has spread. In the next chapter, you'll see how the message is spread amongst all those people in the Yamaloka. Yama himself is going to have a conversation in the next chapter. But we're going to do that next week. Yadyat yamangalo martyah vishnuloke mahiyate. Whatever yadyapi amangalaha martyah. Mangala is good. Amangala is opposite. Someone asked, Mangala is good. Amangala is opposite. Why do you call Tuesday Mangalwar? You call Tuesday Mangalwar, and then you say in Mangalwar you don't do anything auspicious. Shanivar you don't do anything auspicious. Okay, this is how in India they don't do weddings in Mangalwar. They don't do weddings in Shanivar. They don't do weddings Saturdays and Tuesdays. But if you look at the entire USA, entire Western world, marriages are mostly on weekends only, including Saturdays. Interestingly, the word Tuesday, especially Tuesday, is very contradicting name, Mangalwar. Even that is how our religion is. You don't call that day Amangalwar. You call it Mangalwar, but you have the understanding that that day is not good for many things auspicious. So our religion is all about saying the right thing, using the proper words like Bhagavad Nama, Hey Ram, Ram Ram, like that, even for something something not so auspicious. Mriyamano Hare Nama, Grinan Putropacharitam, Ajamilopya Dhama, Kim Puna Shraddaya Grinan. Final sloka, praising you. Mriyamana, Ajamila was so physically helpless at the end of his life. He could take Hari's name. But very clearly this slokas, Grinan Putropacharitam. His upachara is not for Bhagavan Narayana. When he said Narayana, 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 the upachara was for his son, the last one who was nearby, who was dear to him. So Ajamila was so helpless. And in that, he was not having any energy. He didn't mean to call Bhagavan, but he only called his son. It was not meant for him. But he himself, Ajamila api, Agad Dhama, he went to that Dhama, Vaikunta. Kim Punaha, what to talk about you? Kim Punaha means this is a logic. If Ajamila can go to Vaikunta, what to talk about you all? So when we listen to Ajamila's story, we think Ajamila is, a person of that age and time when everybody can easily go to Vaikunta. No. Here, This sloka says, what about you who are so devoted, more than Ajamila? You have more Shraddha than Ajamila, and you have more energy at this point in time in your life than what Ajamila had at the end of his life. So, what to talk about you? What all you can accomplish? With such a very positive message, this chapter is concluding. So, the message is keep taking Bhagavan's Nama whenever you can, in whichever way you can, through stotra, through archana, to aradhana, through bring Bhagavan's name in every part of in every kind of your experience in some way or the other. Even mechanically is fine. इति श्रीमद् भागवते महापुराणे परमहंस्यां संहितायां षष्ठस्कन्धे अजामिलोपाख्याने द्वितीयोऽध्यायः. So the second chapter is complete. Everyone can say Shri Haraye Namah, Shri Haraye Namah, Shri Haraye Namah, Shri Haraye Namah, Shri Haraye Namah. Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam, Govinda, Govinda.